But it doesn't mean that's what he's there for. He's not there to buck the system. Reed trusted Bieniemy. Players respected him. That trust chain matters more than people may want to admit. And let's be honest about the edge he does bring. Bieniemy coaches with urgency. He doesn't let things slide. That tone sets the room. When the offense lacks discipline, penalties, they all pile up. Routes get lazy, and situational football slips. Bieniemy has a track record of tightening those screws. Well, how y'all doing out there? It's good to see you again. Hey, if you don't know, I'm Big Temp. I am joined with my co-host, Mr. Mike LaFleur, and we are the Cavecast. As a Chief fan, I wanted to make sure that the information that we got wasn't just a rumor. So I waited. I waited until everything came out, and it is finally official, pretty much. I know that sounded weird, right? But I need to talk about it. And that's Eric Bieniemy is back, people. One of the things that I think was missing, one of those people that I think actually did something for this team that made it to where you loved watching this team every week. That one guy, he's back. And I want to talk about Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy coming back as an offensive coordinator might actually be the smartest move the Kansas City Chiefs could make right at this very moment. First, this is about I can never say this word.
I got books on the shelf, but who reads?
Yeah, I hear you.
Your books are terrible.
Word, familiarity and timing. The Chiefs, I sounded like an idiot, but it's true. Familiarity. I never say that word right. So the Chiefs are not rebuilding a team. Okay? They are contending. They are a contending team that drifted off course offensively. When you're trying to recalibrate instead of reinvent, familiarity matters. Hey, I said it right that time. Did you catch that, Mike? So,
Took you long enough.
Familiarity matters. Now, Bieniemy knows the system. He knows the personnel. And more importantly, he knows how this offense is supposed to function when it's at its best. Under Bieniemy, this offense had an identity. It was detailed. It was physical, especially in its execution, and it demanded accountability. That part often gets glossed over, but it matters. Players knew, especially with him, what was expected. Expected on every snap. The tempo, it was sharp. The play designs complemented each other. Nothing felt random. Second, Bieniemy understands how to coach stars without coddling them. Now that's not easy in today's league, okay? So, coaching Patrick isn't about limiting him. It's about channeling him. And during Bieniemy's tenure, Mahomes was free but never loose. There was structure behind the creativity. You could see in the spacing, the route timing, and the way answers were built into the play calls, okay? That balance has been missing. The Chiefs' offense especially lately, has felt reactive instead of intentional. Bieniemy brings back intentional football. You can see it wherever he's been, okay? Be it either in Washington as the one of the coaches, the running back coach, or even in Chicago as a running back coach. Third, there's the Andy Reid factor. Andy Reid doesn't need someone to challenge him and his authority necessarily. He needs someone who can execute his vision at a high level, coach hard during the week, and translate big ideas into workable game plans on Sunday. Now, that doesn't mean that Bieniemy isn't going to give Andy some guff every now and again, because he will. That's what Bieniemy did best, okay? But it doesn't mean that's what he's there for. He's not there to buck the system. Reid trusted Bieniemy. Players respected him. That trust chain matters more than people may want to admit. And let's be honest about the edge he does bring. Bieniemy coaches with urgency. He doesn't let things slide. That tone sets the room. When the offense lacks discipline, penalties, they all pile up. Routes get lazy, and situational football slips. Bieniemy has a track record of tightening those screws. Finally, this move isn't about nostalgia. It's about efficiency. The Chiefs don't need another experiment. They need clarity. They need someone who already knows where the bodies are buried, basically. What works with this quarterback and how to get the offense back to championship level consistency without a 2-year adjustment period. Eric Bieniemy might not be a flashy hire, but he's a stabilizing one. And for a team trying to win now, that might be exactly the point. To me, Eric Bieniemy is the one piece of the puzzle. Everything else is filled in, but it's that one piece of the puzzle that's missing. And without it, you don't have a clear picture. You don't have a picture at all. It's still something missing. I think he's a piece that was missing. They needed the discipline to come back. And I think Andy Reid is a little too soft as far as how he treats players. And Bieniemy is that bulldog. He's that person that's going to challenge guys to make them better. Mike, is there anything that I said that you think you agree or don't agree with?
Not really. I mean, you kind of laid that out there. I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said, to be honest with you.
You know what my problem is I have heard too many people respond to the Eric Bieniemy hiring in a negative way. Now, mind
listen,
you,
I done blocked, and to be fair, because I'm the one that be on X, y'all.
yeah, he does.
Look, I can't tell how many Chiefs. Hold on, let me rephrase that. I can't tell you how many so-called Chiefs fans I done blocked on X for saying the dumbest. Look, man. I get everybody can have their own opinion, but when it's
Yes.
dumb, I gotta block you. It's that simple. It's that simple, man. It's crazy,
I,
man.
my problem with it is we understand that Eric Bieniemy is going to bring back structure, discipline. You know, he's going to be attention to detail kind of guy. He's going to hold these guys accountable. We all know that, right? But if you look at what the problem was with the Chiefs this past season, and even the other 2 seasons before that, the biggest thing that everybody's complaining about what the Chiefs don't do and how we don't have a run game and the scheme needs to change and all this other stuff. Trust me, there are some parts to the scheme that do need to change. And maybe since Bieniemy's been gone this long and been with other coaches in different offensive scheme sets, he brings something back with him. But how is it that those things that you're complaining about, as far as too many penalties, guys can't get lined up correctly, stepping out of bounds, on your routes, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't think anybody remembers this, but the Chiefs weren't a very big penalized team when Bieniemy was there. Does anybody else remember that?
I mean, this is what I would say. I don't think they were as bad as far because really most of the penalties come from the offensive line.
Okay.
That's
Now
where the majority of them come from,
you're
and
kind of
it's
hitting.
really one player. To be honest with you,
You're kind of hitting where I'm going with this. Okay, so
but
yeah.
they're actually one of the most teams over the last like 6 or 7 years.
Okay, and
But
that's
I do think it's kind of contracted higher on like one specific group versus like the entirety of the team, if that makes sense. So,
exactly. So I will say this: the offense over the last 2 to 3 years has been rough to watch. And the penalties, especially on one specific group, like you said, on offense, has made it tough. And I think you have to remember that when Eric Bieniemy was there, they were more accountable, like we've always wanted. We've wanted that back. And there was more attention to detail, but it was the discipline. The discipline that he instilled in these guys, the challenging of them to be better, to be the best version of themselves. And I think we were missing that. I think we were missing that for the last 3 years. It's no coincidence. And that's one thing I don't believe in. I don't believe in coincidences. Because when Bieniemy was there and wherever he's gone after this, as far as being on the sideline, there has been a positive result. Okay. Mike, I'm trying to remember, but correct me if I'm wrong. This year, Eric Bieniemy was the running back coach for the Chicago Bears. Is that correct?
yep.
And if you could remind me, how well did the Chicago Bears do this year?
Okay. Hey, a lot of people don't know this. So they were actually the only team in the NFL this year to have two backs run for more than 750 yards. And one of those backs actually hit 1,000, which was DeAndre Swift. And then
Hmm.
Monange is at like, I think Monange is at like right under 800.
All right.
Um, so also, speaking of run game, I would remind people this too. Now, I get that Pacheco got hurt, right?
Yes.
But and Pacheco and this is the thing that kills me because obviously Pacheco, especially this year, has not played well.
No.
And it's from all counts, not just even like with the injury or whatever. But Pacheco's first 2 years, he was great. It like the problems that people have with Pacheco now is not the problems that we were saying about him in his first 2 years
They
at
well
all.
they weren't as prevalent.
But I would
He still had a couple of problems with
argue
finding a hole or hitting the hole correctly sometimes, but it got worse
he got
after
worse. He got
it.
worse. Like
Yes.
look, I don't care what nobody say. His vision got worse. I don't know what it is. He ran better. The Chiefs had a better run game. Look, I'm not saying that they had an all world run game when he was
Yes.
here, but they were more efficient, and we
Yes.
just had a better running back room. It wasn't like elite, but it was above average. We don't have anything close to above average right now compared to what we did even 3 years ago.
So
So
here's what I was saying when the reason why I brought that up. We all know what he did while he's with the Chiefs. And we all understood that he comes back into the league after being gone for a year with UCLA. He was a coach there. And while he was a coach there, things didn't go well, but it was only one season. They didn't really give him a chance, he's going back to coach college kids, right?
and UCLA is in a terrible situation, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was with the Washington Commanders in 2023, and they weren't great. 4-13 season. But, you know, that that's to be it's understandable. They didn't have a great season, but they didn't really have a lot of anything there, you know. And bringing him into that offense, you know, it wasn't going to work out as well as people may have thought. But he got a chance to get back into the pros, working with young men, but guys who are pros, you know, teaching them how to be a pro, right? But again, he gets back in with the Bears. He's with a good coach, a young head coach who has great schemes, and he's working with them. And again, he puts them in positions, especially in that running back room, to perform well, right? When he was with the Chiefs, they performed well. All I'm saying is, if you were thinking that Andy Reid, who is the head honcho, was going to bring in a guy from a different tree to come in and coach up underneath him and be an offensive coordinator up underneath him, I mean, it's a great idea if you think he's going to give you some new ideas, new schemes, things like that. Okay. But we all know Andy's not listening to nobody like that. Especially from a new person that's from a different tree that he's never worked with before.
Man, I got
The
to comment on that too. Oh my
the only
God.
the only way that was going to happen is if you bring somebody in that's been there with Andy at one time or another, or coached with Andy at one time or another, and did it for long periods of time, and Andy actually respected. You would be better off bringing a guy like Bieniemy back, who's been away for a while and been able to see other schemes. You know, he could bring that back. He'd be more willing to listen to a Eric Bieniemy, who has been under his tree and worked with him for longer periods of time. He'd be willing to listen to more blocking schemes, different fucking play calling, different run schemes than he would a new guy, especially a guy he's never worked with before. And I don't think people really understand that that's a comfortability and trust thing. And if you don't have that comfortability and trust with that kind of a person that you've worked with before to bring in new ideas and stuff like that, what makes you think he's going to do it with a new guy, somebody he's never worked with before? I would love to
Yeah.
see him bring in somebody, with new ideas and stuff like that. But you know what? I'm okay with this hire. I'm actually very ecstatic to see what happens with the Chiefs now that we've brought Bieniemy in.
Okay,
What's
so
what's your comment?
I got a question. I got a
Oh,
question
okay.
first. So this has been Johnson's first year or the second year as the coach for the Bears.
This would be the first year, if I remember right.
So this is the first year.
Yeah, because I want to say, what's his name? Oh God, he was the coach there last year, and he
Oh
was
yeah,
the
because they made the playoffs last year with the Lions, and then this year they didn't make it this year. Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah, and
Okay.
it was a guy. He's a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys this year.
Yeah.
He's the one that did all that stupid ass play calling last year. That I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember now. Yeah, I do remember. So I
Yeah,
wanted to point this out. I wanted to point this out real quick. So last year the Bears were 25th in rushing yards as a team last year.
yeah.
This year they're third.
Mm,
Now, I will say I do think Ben Johnson has a lot to do with that,
of course, of
but I
course.
also think that Bieniemy has some a lot to do with it as well.
Yes, I do
So
too.
you don't go from 25th to third all of a sudden, and you know what I'm saying? Like they went from 4 yards a carry as a team to freaking 4.9 yards a carry as a
E-
team.
Exactly.
So yeah, and also about the this is the thing that kills me about the people that keep complaining about getting the enemy and then not going and getting Mike McDaniel, who I actually wanted as well. You notice I've been preaching for Mike McDaniel as well. I would have loved to see him come to Chiefs. Now, do I think it was realistic? No, and
Yeah.
here's why. Here's the thing: when people try to, because I asked people in the Twitter space, and I'm like, so do y'all give credit to Eric Bieniemy for how the offense looked before he left? Right, the
Okay.
offense was top. It was a top offense during that era, right?
Yeah.
And some of the dudes were saying no. The majority of the credit goes to it's Andy Reid, the Mahomes, the players. Tyreek Hill was there before he left. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I don't understand why. Well, this is why I don't understand why y'all are getting upset about it being Eric Bieniemy. Because by your logic, what you're telling me is that the offensive coordinator doesn't really have any effect on how the offense is ran, right?
Yeah.
So by your logic, getting Mike McDaniel doesn't really change anything,
Exactly.
regardless if you think he's bringing a new ideas or new this and new that. It doesn't really change anything because at the end of the day, this shit is ran by Andy Reid. Period.
I mean,
So
I don't
what's
see
you know what I'm
I,
saying?
I don't see where your logic is flawed at. Basically, you're
No,
saying it wouldn't have mattered who they brought in. Andy Reid would still be the guy who gets all the credit anyway, which in all fairness, yeah, I get it. He's the head coach. But being mad because they brought EB back makes no sense because it wouldn't have
like
mattered who they brought in. That guy would never have gotten the credit no matter
because
what.
my thing is you can't be like, well, when the offense is good, it didn't have anything to do with the coordinator, but then
Yeah.
be mad and be like the offense is going to be bad because we didn't get such and such coordinator. But you just said that the coordinators don't really have anything to do with how good the offense is.
I will say
What he
this
said.
because I do agree with you that the logic is flawed. So I'll say this. The reason why I think it's hard for Matt Nagy to get a head coaching job now is because he's going through the same thing Eric Bieniemy went through while being in Kansas City. It is the ability to be able to prove yourself as a play caller. Since Andy Reid is the play caller, I think it does, in fact, hurt anybody that wants to be an offensive coordinator up underneath Andy Reid.
Agree.
I'm just saying, in a sense, it does kind of hurt them. But I'm also thinking along this line that maybe, just maybe, because there was no reason that Eric Bieniemy had to come back. He probably could have stayed in Chicago, no problem.
They said he had other head coaching opportunities too. Now I don't know how true that is.
And it could be. He could have had other head coaching jobs, but maybe, just maybe, the reason why Eric Bieniemy did decide to come back and they reached out to him is because maybe they're grooming him to be the next head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, if I'm coming back to a place where I won Super Bowls and my offense that I was involved in was the most prolific offense in the NFL, and my head coach is getting older, I know the system, and the star, Patrick Mahomes there, knows me, we've won together, and I know I can push him. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to Kansas City. I give it 2 years. And in 2 years, if Reed's not gone, I go somewhere else. But I kind of think that they're probably trying to groom him to be the next head. Now that's just my thoughts. I ain't got no inside information. I'm just saying it makes perfect sense. Because this guy he's coming back into an offensive coordinator role where he's going to be hands-on with Patrick Mahomes all the time. And he knows the offense. Andy Reid is going to be what, 68?
Yeah, something like that.
He's not going to be there forever. He's not going to be there
his
forever.
Contract,
right?
I know his contract is up in like 29 or something like that.
Yeah, so that would make kind of perfect sense. 2-3 years, contract's up. You got Eric Bieniemy there. You don't have to look for another head coach. You got the guy that knows the system. Patrick Mahomes trusts him. Bam, right there. Just saying.
I just hate the offensive coordinator. Like, they make it seem like it was the end all be all. We all know that Andy Reid is the one that runs this shit. So y'all get mad at the fact that Andy Reid or the Chiefs didn't do this with the offensive coordinator position when you already acknowledge that this is Andy. It's not going to change significantly unless, because their whole thing is that, well, it doesn't signify that he's willing to change the scheme or the offense. But that wasn't going to happen regardless.
No.
Bringing in Mike McDaniel is not going to make Andy Reid change his whole scheme up, bro. It's not happening. The only way that's going to happen is if Andy Reid is not the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Exactly.
Period.
So I, for one, am happy with this hire. I, for one, think that this is going to immediately bring significant change, and you're going to see the fruits of their labor with this immediately.
I want to add this too. I would get, because with the whole new idea thing, look, I would understand more so what people are saying if we didn't make any changes to the coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if everything else stayed the same, like we kept, the wide receiver coach, the running back coach, everybody else, if that would have all stayed the same, that would make sense as far as like Andy Reid not really, it would kind of look, it wouldn't look the same basically, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that they went out and got fucking Chad O'Shea.
Oh, yeah.
that to me, and not only that, there's been like I want to say there's like 6 or 7. They've let go of like 6 or 7 dudes on the offensive coaching staff.
Yeah, you notice how a lot of them is all from the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, because because to be fair, like the defensive side, like the coaching staff, like I think Dave Merritt shouldn't go nowhere. To
No,
be
no,
honest with you,
do not let
no,
him go at
Dave
all.
Merritt. I don't want nobody touching Dave Merritt, bro.
Yeah,
Dave Merritt needs to stay where he's at.
yeah, but
I don't really have an issue with Joe Cullen, honestly.
yeah,
Um, I knew, and look, I know people want Dave to go. Here's the thing, y'all. He's also the assistant coach. So, that
yeah.
was
For
gonna
now,
be a tough one. That,
for now,
that
for now,
at
for
least for
now.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, at least for
for
now. That would have
now.
been I
I
don't
got a
see
funny feeling.
any
I got a funny feeling that's about to
going that
change.
see.
I,
But
I was gonna say I lost you there. No, I don't think that's. I don't think that's too far off. My whole thing with this is, and I wanted to address it because I have heard a lot of chatter, and people need to be understanding about one thing. Look, most of the Chiefs' problems were from a lack of discipline, and guys feeling like the coaching staff wasn't doing right by them in certain instances. They kind of shut these guys out. Listen, if I'm a wide receiver and I'm getting coached by Connor Embry, I'm probably gonna tune out too, because this
no,
motherfucker
seriously.
he did not know
He
what the
was
fuck he was doing.
he was barely him and I'm pretty sure him and Rice aren't like far in age, bro. Like
No. So to be
Rice is probably
honest
looking at
with
him
you,
like, "Nigga, you don't know what you're doing, bro." Like,
to bring in a guy like Chad O'Shea, a proven world champion, Super Bowl champion wide receiver coach who coached the guys like Julian Edelman and Wes Welker. And I mean,
hey, did
and
you
even
hear? Did you hear what Julian said? Because he talked about it.
I didn't get to, somebody was telling me that he did it, that he had talked
Yeah,
about
he did
Chad
a
O'Shea.
reaction,
Yeah.
bro. He literally said he's responsible for his like, because he was a quarterback
Yeah. Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
He literally
Yeah.
said he's literally responsible for the way he turned out as a player, like straight up,
Yeah.
basically.
From
So
what I did hear Gronkowski say, that
yeah,
was a
he did
great
too.
hire. He said that was a great hire. He's a one hell of a fucking wide receiver coach. And that's coming from two guys from the Patriot system. One of those guys is a Hall of Famer.
I mean, look what he did with Jerry Jeudy. Now I know Jerry Jeudy didn't have a great year this year. We know why though. Their
Well, yeah,
quarterback
the
situation,
quarterback
it
situation
was
was bad.
terrible.
Uh,
But he had like 1,300 yards the first year he was in Cleveland.
and yes, you're right. And if you remember right, Wes Welker, if I remember right, underneath that guy, set the record for passing or receiving. It was either receiving yards or receptions for the Patriots.
I mean, him and Randy Moss both had career years under him. So
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna give him all of Randy Moss's credit because
I'm
Randy
not.
was
I'm
doing.
just saying. No.
he
Randy
was
Moss
he,
was no.
he
Randy
was
Moss was
killing.
already Randy Moss. I was just
Yeah,
pointing out that he had a career year under him as
true,
well. So
true. But what I'm saying is that I think that's a great hire, and I think that a guy like Jalen Royals getting a chance to learn up underneath a guy like Chad O'Shea can change what this guy is, because we never really got to see him. It can change what Rice is, because he did not do much this season after being suspended for 6 games. And the one guy I think he can change the most for is Xavier Worthy,
hey, I'm
because
gonna be honest. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna
I
wait till
think
you get done.
I think Xavier Worthy is a star in the making, but he needed to have the right coach to coach him up. And I think if you get a guy like Chad O'Shea with him, I think it's going to change a lot of things for Xavier Worthy. I think it could be the start of something fantastic for him.
I just wanted to say, and I actually agree, but Listen, man. I know not worthy. I know Rice didn't particularly play well. What was that? The last two games
The last three,
before.
yeah, the
Well,
last.
it was when I say the last two, I was meaning the ones before Patrick got hurt because obviously I know he played
Okay,
after
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But technically, because really nobody really did anything after that. So the dude was still on pace for like 1,200 yards that year. If he would have played a whole off that pace that he played on, played the whole season, he would have had like 1,200, 1,300 yards that year.
My biggest concern was the drops that kept happening on a
And
weekly
look,
basis.
that what's funny to me is that like because the drop thing. Look, I do understand it, but what I'm not going to do is act like a lot of these other top receivers ain't dropping the goddamn ball as
No,
well.
no,
And he's
no.
not even on the. He's not even. If you want to talk about drops like throughout the year, he's not even in the top
It's
25 or 30.
it, it's not
He's
that
not even
it's not
close.
necessarily it's not even necessarily that it's the drops, but it's the drops knowing that you have to have it because your team needs to win this game. You have no choice but to win this game. And you know what they say about, superstars. Superstars in crunch time show up. And it was crunch time in some of those games where we just absolutely have to have a first down. We had to have a touchdown. And I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Rice. I couldn't possibly tell you. Uh, yes, you're right. He was on track, but it was like just inopportune timing, right? Uh, I think
It
it'll.
makes it.
I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. I just
I think
want
it.
him to. He's got to get with a better. He's got to get with a better wide receiver coach who's going to coach him up and learn how to, you know, get himself in a position to win on his routes every time and not have to worry about his positioning on the field. Like when, hey, if this is going to be a slant route, this is where I have to be. This is how I've got to sell this slant, right? If this is going to be me sitting down in a little zone area, I've got to know where the defenders are at all times. So I decide, okay, I'm turning to my left or I'm turning to my right and I'm going. Just little things like that. Those little details.
I actually think that's part of the problem though with the offense, especially with the younger receivers. That's part of the reason why I feel like the receivers take longer to learn in this offense compared to any other offense. Is because because what do people say from the outside? Are these dudes actually running routes,
Yeah.
or is Andy Reid just having them run into space, and
But
they
a
need to
lot of
recognize
that,
the space?
a
But
lot of
if
that,
you
it's
but if
on
you make
Connor.
it simple,
It was on Connor
exactly, I
Embry.
agree. No, I agree. But my thing is that why don't you just have them running routes? That way, they don't have to think about all that shit all the time.
I, you
You know
know
what I'm
what?
saying?
I can't tell you what the possibility is for why they didn't do certain things, but what I can say is there's no excuse for it now because you got a real
Oh well,
wide
yeah.
receiver coach. You got a real wide receiver coach. You got a
But
real
you know
fucking
what's
offensive
crazy?
coordinator.
But you didn't have like you didn't really have this issue with even like before Bieniemy was gone. But that's when Connor Embry and them wasn't there either. That's
No,
when
they
Greg
weren't.
Lewis and them was there.
Yeah.
So here's what I say with the Rice thing. I do think it's highlighted more because of how the season was going anyway.
Well, of
Because
course.
you know what I'm saying? Like the season was already like that was our like that game was our chance to get into the playoffs. Like we were
Yeah.
already on thin ice to begin with. So obviously it got highlighted a little bit more than usual. You know what I'm saying? If that was a
Yeah.
regular because at that point in the season, we would probably be like 13 games won by then. And we probably end up winning that game anyway. But the fact that, we were below 500 and it was our playoff chances on the line, and, that kind of amps shit
I,
up a little bit more than usual.
I'm
You know what I'm
I'm looking
saying?
this I'm looking forward to be honest with you, and we're not going to keep this long, right? I'm looking forward to seeing who they hire as the running back coach because that is going to make a world of difference in this offense. And if they get the right running back coach along with Eric Bieniemy, what does that do for Brashard Smith? You know, are they
I
gonna?
already said I think Bashar should automatically be RB2. I already said it because I know they're
So
gonna get somebody either in free agency. I think Brees is gonna be a chief. That's just me.
hmm,
But
we shall
um,
see. We
even
shall
if they get
see.
somebody in the draft, because I think Bashar is going. They already told him they want him to get a little bit bigger and get some
Can
muscle.
we get Brees Hall in free agency? Can we
I
get
think
keep my
that's a done
finger?
deal. I think it's a done deal already. I ain't
Can
gonna
can
lie.
can the hometown boy come back? Can he come back close to home? I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to
I
see it
already look
happen.
to me if you get Brees Hall and you got Brashard, to me that's a nasty 1-2 combo. Listen, and I think they're gonna get another running back on top of that too. I don't either whether it's a free agent or they get another one in the draft. If you got them two, you get one more in the draft, and then maybe you keep Kareem.
I keep Kareem. You got to keep Kareem.
Yeah, because I think they're gonna keep four. I think they're gonna keep four running backs.
Yeah, keep Kareem.
So
So I didn't want to keep everybody this long. We just wanted to come on here. I had to give my take, tell you everybody about how I felt about it. If you are a Chiefs fan and you have your own take and you have a comment, you want to say your piece about Eric Bieniemy and how you feel, leave it in the comments. We would truly appreciate it. We look forward to hearing everybody's comments. It's one of the things that we really like to do. We like to answer and respond back to people. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you are one of those people who've been on the journey with us for a while and you've continuously come back, thank you. We continue to keep trying to put out the content that we think is relevant to what's happening with our Chiefs, and we appreciate you. So if 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 you have any comment, if you have a concern or a comment about your own team, if you're not even a Chiefs fan, leave it in the comments. So we'd love to hear from everybody. But that's it for us. We want to say thank you, and we will see you guys again next week. Be on the lookout for our top 5 defensive tackles. We're going to do a show on that. It should be out. Okay. So thank you. We'll see you guys again. And this is The Cave.